What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hey, how's it going? My name's Caitlin. I am a coffee aficionado, which is basically a fancy way of just saying coffee addict. I'm like the internet's favorite barista. I love all things specialty coffee, and my goal is to share my passion with you and hopefully inspire you to start drinking better coffee at home, because I believe coffee can be so much better. Iced coffee was and is my first love in the coffee world. It's the drink that got me interested in specialty coffee, it's what got me hooked, and it brought me down this crazy rabbit hole. And if you are anything like me, then you know iced coffee is the most important meal of the entire day. However, there are a ton of bad instant iced coffees on the market that seem to be super popular that people are wasting their money on. You've probably seen them all over viral videos on TikTok and Instagram. They're everywhere, they're super popular, they have great marketing, but they aren't fresh and they're usually not made with good quality coffee. And I want to change that. Let's make iced coffee great again. That's my new slogan. Make iced coffee great again. Use real coffee. Today's video is all about the 4 best ways to make iced coffee with real specialty coffee beans. It's the best, trust me on that. I promise this will take your iced coffee game to a whole new level. The first method I want to introduce you to is a Japanese style iced coffee made with a pour over, specifically in my case, a Chemex. This is hands down my favorite way to make and enjoy iced coffee, and another reason why I think everybody needs to have a Chemex on their coffee bar. Definitely worth the money in my opinion. I love this method of brewing because you're still doing it with hot water and allowing all the flavors to properly be extracted. You see, when you brew with hot water like this, as soon as the coffee hits the ice, it instantly cools and locks in super unique flavor notes. In order for coffee to be properly extracted as the roaster intends for it to be, it has to be made with hot or boiling water. Cold brew has a tendency to alter the proper flavor notes and turn it into something sweeter, but also kind of dead tasting. Whereas brewing this way still allows for a proper extraction, so you get the natural flavor notes much like you do with a regular hot coffee pour over. I personally prefer this method of iced coffee over any kind of cold brew because you get those natural flavor notes. It's literally like you're drinking hot coffee, just the iced version of it. It's so good. I always recommend doubling your grounds, so I use 60 grams of a medium roast coffee for about 320 grams of ice. This is my go-to recipe, and it's going to make a strong, bold, but also sweet and refreshing iced coffee. Once you've doubled your grounds and added the ice, you follow typical pour-over technique until you reach your target weight, which in this case is going to be about 550 grams of water. A pour-over, in my opinion, is one of the best ways to enjoy a good quality iced coffee. Keeps most of the natural flavor notes, the acidity, the sweetness of hot coffee that you're used to in your coffee, and it's not bitter at all. It's simply hot coffee brewed directly over ice, but it is definitely worth trying out. It will change your pour-over game, and you won't want to go back to nasty cold brew. Next up is my second favorite iced coffee option, although technically it's an iced latte, but there's still ice in there, so don't come for me. I personally make all my espresso-based drinks on my Brew Barista Express, but you can substitute a mocha pot or any other kind of stovetop espresso maker, or even a Prismo for the Aeropress, and get similar results. They don't make exact espresso, but it's a good substitute if that's all you have and you don't want to spend the money. I love drinking iced lattes because the flavor profile is completely different than both cold brew and filtered iced coffee like I just showed you. Really, the only downside to brewing coffee this way is that the espresso has less sweetness when it's brewed over ice than it does when you consume it hot. And that's just because of the way your body picks up on the flavors. You can add extra sugar to your espresso to make up for that if you want, but I just like to mix in some caramel syrup, and I find that that definitely gets the job done. It is super simple to make an iced latte. Simply fill your glass with your desired amount of ice, fill the cup at least halfway up with the milk of your choice, I just use 2%, and then brew either a single or a double shot of espresso and pour it onto the milk. Simple as that. Now, if you really want to get crazy, what I like to do sometimes is mix in some froth milk to add some sweetness and cut down on the bitterness of the espresso. A lot of times I do this by pouring a little hot froth milk over top of my iced latte. I don't always do it, but the mixture of an iced cold latte with warm froth milk on top is an absolute game changer and such a nice treat. You know I love the Aeropress brewer, so I couldn't leave it out of the iced coffee party. If you have an Aeropress, this is definitely an iced coffee recipe that you need to try because it makes an incredibly good cup. Now, this method technically falls under a filtered iced coffee, much like the Chemex, but since it's made in a different brewing device and by pressing the coffee, we're going to include it here as another option because really the taste profile is completely different. The great thing about this method is that you get to control the entire process and you can fine-tune it by simply extending the brewing time and changing very small variables. My go-to iced Aeropress recipe uses 20 grams of a medium fine ground coffee, 140 grams of ice, and a total weight of 170 grams, and a 2-minute and 30-second brew time. This is a great flash brew method that locks in the flavors and gives you a very lively spring-like taste. It's very similar to the Japanese method, and you get your coffee in less than 3 minutes. However, I found that the coffee comes out a little bit lighter and sweeter using the Aeropress. Lastly, I have to show just a little bit of love for cold brew. While personally I'm not the biggest cold brew fan, having a fresh batch of it in the fridge is a great option for a refreshing drink this summer. It's always on hand, and once you make it, it'll last for a while. Personally, I feel that cold brew can taste a little bit dead in flavor, and it takes a fortnight to make. However, this is my favorite recipe that I like to use that makes it a little bit more lively. For cold brew, I use 65 grams of a coarsely ground coffee. You want it coarse like breadcrumbs. I do it in a French press and use roughly 1 liter of room temperature water. Once you have the water and coffee all secured in the French press and you give it a nice mix, go ahead and leave it on the counter for 12 to 16 hours. Now, since this is brewing on the counter and not in the fridge, it doesn't need quite as long to brew. But the bonus is there won't be any drastic temperature changes during the brewing process. So the grounds will be able to extract a little bit easier and quicker, and you'll get a little bit better tasting coffee. Cold brew is made by infusing cold water or room temperature water over coffee grounds for up to 24 hours. Typically, you get a smooth, chocolatey, less acidic tasting coffee. However, like I mentioned off the top, if it's over extracted, it has a tendency to turn out a little dull in flavor and just leave you lacking. Try my recipe and let me know if it changes cold brew coffee for you, because for me, it definitely makes a difference. There you have it, my friends, my 4 go-to iced coffee recipes with real coffee. Any of these methods is sure to bring your iced coffee game to a whole new level and impress your friends and family. It's an absolute game changer. It's time to ditch the instant iced coffee and start making it with good, high-quality beans. I gave you 4 recipes here. You are super prepared and equipped, so let's make iced coffee great again. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite way to make iced coffee is. Maybe there's a new method or recipe that I need to try, and I love trying new things. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and don't forget to like this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Remember, as always, drink better coffee.